we've had a year,
and
you still don't come prepared.
I don't.
That's amazing. I feel like
but I'm good.
Talent.
Sometimes it's good, just to, say fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hello. We're back. Welcome to another episode of Sips and Scripts. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm your other host, Kyla.
And yeah, we have not been here.
We've been MIA.
2020 was a year. 2021 was the start of a crazy year.
It wasn't my fault.
And we're going to move past all of that. And yeah, so for people, I guess we're going to kind of reintroduce ourselves and kind of talk about why we're doing this. So I guess as the original brainchild of this whole thing, loving movies is definitely something that I feel connects you to people. I mean, I think it's a way to see the world through different lenses and just kind of engage with people. I've always loved film. I took film class in high school. And so, yeah, my burning question is always, what's your favorite film? Because I feel like if you know someone's favorite film, that tells you a lot about who they are as a person.
Right.
And kind of what's helped shape them as an individual. So that's kind of where I started was, having a drink with somebody and talking about movies. So, nothing wrong with that.
Can't go wrong with that idea.
So, Kyla, when I approached you to join me on this journey, what made you say, yeah, let's go for it?
So I enjoy talking about movies. I'm a hairstylist, for those that don't know, but I have clients that'll come in and we'll talk movies and talk about what we're seeing, what television shows we're watching, series we're watching, and binge watching. And for me, I'm very, very much a visual person. I've always been a kid that was in front of the television. I mean, I was outside a lot, but if it was a rainy day or if it was too hot outside, I was watching TV for hours. Anytime. If you didn't know where I was, you can find me in front of the television. At night, every single night before sleeping, we were watching a movie. So I was just that kind of kid.
No, I definitely had a similar background. If you let my family tell you, I was easy to watch just because you just put on a movie and I would watch the entire movie. And then back in those days, to age ourselves a little bit, VHS tapes, I would just go hit rewind and then press play and watch it again. So that's just kind of how I grew up. So I certainly love movies. But I'll be honest, 2020 made it very hard to watch movies.
It was very difficult. It was like I was telling Justin, I haven't been watching a lot of new movies. Not unless it's coming out on like a streaming network that I'm currently paying for. So, but if it's like a new release, a cinema release, and it's like $20 to watch, I'm like, I'm not going to watch that by myself. I'm not paying $20 to watch something at home by myself.
We are not going to litigate this argument on this podcast because I think that is a separate podcast. You have valid arguments.
I don't like it. Oh, it makes because I feel like I'm missing out.
I completely disagree with your stance, but this isn't the pod for that.
Right.
We're going to talk about what we've been watching because I'm sure, like you guys, you've watched something. There's been something that you have found some levity or you've been able to take a break from reality. And it's helped you in some way, shape, or form. So we're just going to talk about the stuff that we've been watching. Whether it be new, whether it be old stuff, whether it's stuff that was in our queue for God knows how long and we finally watched it. We're just going to go through it. So I know you said you don't have a lot of movies, but There are a few movies that I have watched that I can recommend or that I can say a little bit about. So I'll get started, and if you've watched them, of course, we'll kind of go through.
Gotcha.
So I do have it ranked in what I enjoyed the most, and then what was something to watch. So for starters, I have the Fear Street trilogy that came out on Netflix. The horror anthology. It was based on the R.L. Stein books, and I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
So you have the anthology broken down into 3 parts. You have the Fear Street, 1996. Then you have Fear Street, 1974.
Okay.
Or 76, one of those. And then you have Fear Street, 1666. So starts off in what is their present day 96, and basically a killer's on the loose. Go through. Right. It's like a standard slasher film.
So is this like coming of age? Is this like...
No, this one is really like I said, it's a standard slasher film. But as the mystery unfolds, we then have to go back to 1976 and figure out what happened or what got us to where we are in 96. As the 76, which is your traditional, like your original thriller. So I would say 96 is more of like your Scream type of stuff, like you know. And then 76 is more akin to your Friday the 13th, your Nightmare on Elm Street. Those homages to those. You're at a camp, something happens, type stuff. By the end of 1976, we then have to go all the way back to 1666, where the trouble started. So it takes you on that journey, and I love it just because I love having stories unfold. I love the actors they use are fantastic. One of the standouts is actually from Stranger Things, Sadie Fink. She was the new redhead girl that joined the group.
Why have I not seen this?
I don't know. But it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun.
Like, I feel like I've seen this, and it's weird how Netflix is, because I feel like this is something that Netflix should have put in recommended for me. As much as as often as I watch horror or true crime, stuff like that, I feel like this came up a lot, but I don't know why it still isn't on my radar. So if I scroll through my Netflix right now, it wouldn't be anywhere near in my top queue.
That is interesting because it should,
and it should be, because I
it was
what's her name that's
Sadie
in this?
Fink.
I've been loving her in everything that she's been in.
She's really good.
She's
I would say
phenomenal.
I'm no shots at Millie, but I put my ball in
Zero shots at Millie, but I would agree with you on that. Yeah, she's...
it's Fear Street 1978. So please don't kill me in the comments. But yes, gotcha. 1978. But yes, Fear Street, it was fantastic. So here's the thing. As the story unfolds and you start getting more and more, it's great. It's fun. The ending is a little choppy. I'll be honest. So, it does enough. It does enough to make it fun, make it worth it.
Okay.
Fear Street, had a great time. My next movie, The Suicide Squad. So, this is by James Gunn. This is the remake, or not the remake, this is the reimagining of Suicide Squad by David Ayers. The failed Suicide Squad, starring Margot Robbie and Will Smith. This one now has Idris Elba, Margot Robbie. This is the most fun movie I've watched probably in 2 years.
I'll give it that. Although I remember when he told me that I should give it a watch, because I was kind of like on the fence about it. So I watched it. I will say it's funnier. It's definitely funnier. But I stopped watching it. I'm not even gonna lie. Really? I stopped watching it. After the island, I can't even remember how far. it wasn't even the island. There was a few spots where they kept losing me. And I would go back in, and then I kept losing in and out. I never stopped it, but I just, I would get easily distracted watching this movie.
So let me ask you, compared to Suicide Squad.
It was an easier watch.
But
mostly because it was comical, so it held my attention a little bit more. But I mean, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I did not like it.
I just wanted to know, I guess.
And it's hard to really pinpoint I really didn't enjoy. I wasn't invested. I wasn't invested in anything. I wasn't invested in the story and the plot. I wasn't invested in any of the characters.
So wait, because I remember I told you about this. So the scene between Idris Elba and Storm Reed. Did you get to that part?
Yes, I did get to that part. I agree with you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Storm Reed, for those who haven't seen the movie, puts in some of the best 5 minutes of acting that I've seen in some time. Very much a la Zendaya, who they play sisters in Euphoria. So I don't know. I just think if you're around greatness, greatness rubs off on you, and you just start being better at your craft.
It should push you, for sure.
I think she disappeared in that role. She stands toe to toe with Idris Elba, which is not an easy task to do,
right?
Especially for someone at her age. So I was just impressed, and I was like, but no, I think it's just fun. It's just a fun time. John Cena is amazing.
John Cena and Idris Elba together. There needs to be another movie with them. I feel like.
If you had saw the movie, you would see what happened. But
I get their dynamic was very good. It was a lot of fun. John Cena surprised me in this movie. I will say that
he's a real actor in my opinion now. So yeah, I appreciate that one. So as I'm going, is there anything that jumped out to you that you knew that you watched?
As far as like movies go, or
we're still in the
we're
category.
Still on the movies.
We're still in the category of movies.
I'll be honest. I've been watching a lot of series here lately. Fair. I've been binge watching mostly series.
Well, then let me run through these then. Another one that I saw that is just delightful. I don't know if you're familiar with Sam Richardson, but he did a lot of work on Veep. He also was in the Chris Pratt movie, The Tomorrow War, that premiered on Amazon Prime. So he's in a movie called Werewolves Within. And it is a lovely whodunit horror movie that is just fun.
Okay.
And it's just fun. I mean, I'm not going to say it's choreographed to know exactly what's going to happen, but I will say enough of there's nothing that's like, whoa, I didn't see that. It's like, it's a standard story.
Yeah.
But it's just really fun. I enjoyed the actors in there. Honestly, who doesn't like a whodunit story?
Right.
I mean, they're just fun. They're just good, good, easy, or I would say just a smooth watch. I got through it. Werewolves Within is fun. Oh man, we're about to hit the algorithms now. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I can live without it. I enjoyed it.
Was it better than the first one though?
That's not fair because the first one is on the list of the 100 worst films I've ever seen. So it's not fair.
Hold down.
And to say, listen, if I gave you 5 hours to do a hairstyle versus an hour and 30 for someone else.
I mean,
that you let's do it this way.
Okay.
You sit there. Someone's like, I want this very elaborate hairstyle.
Yeah.
And you start it, and then you leave.
Yeah.
And then someone else comes in and has to finish what you did, but then they wind up doing something different.
Right.
Versus you coming back, starting from scratch, and then having 5 hours to do it.
Right.
It's gonna be better. Like it just is.
Yes.
Like
But wasn't that the whole point?
No, that wasn't the point.
And
that's the
okay.
that's
So
the problem.
what? So explain to me what you feel the point was.
The point was fanboys thinking they control Hollywood and thinking they control the media, and they don't. Like, just
shots fired.
Listen, we are talking about movies, so everyone is entitled to their opinion, but I have no right to petition to stop Tyler Perry movies, no matter how much I dislike them. Like, that's just not how this works. Like,
right.
So if I don't want to watch it, then I just don't watch it. And I just feel like if you didn't like the Justice League from however long ago, then you just didn't like the Justice League, and that's the end of it.
I get it.
But this whole
I
campaign about no, there was more. Like, it's like, come on, just leave it alone.
I think I agree with that, because I think if we get into the mode of, if we go down the road of
play the director's cut.
If we start dictating,
well, now they're talking about,
let's redo this because like a portion of the people did not like it. It's like, okay, then we're gonna have to start remaking.
Well, because now they're talking about David
every
Ayer's
single movie, because not every, you know what I mean. Not every movie is gonna be to people's liking. So
they're now saying do David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Apparently, he has a director's cut. I don't want to see it. I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care.
Explain to me.
Fine.
I've never understood director's cuts.
So
because I'm like, why can't we just let the movie be the movie?
So
like, and that's it.
So to put it as plainly as possible, you have pressure from studio execs who they have their data that they look at to say how long someone needs to be in a theater versus how long we need to turn it over versus, hey, look at Marvel. Mm-hmm. Look how long their movies typically are.
Right.
Look at how they're structured, mm-hmm. and look how successful they are. Mm-hmm. So you have these people who will look at these movies and say, hey, Zach, you're on 5 hours right now, mm-hmm. and we're still filming. I think we need to chop it up. We need to do stuff. Mm-hmm. So let's say all of that happened. Let's say it unfairly happened to Zack Snyder. And he gets removed from the project. He had personal issues as well on top of whatever was going on during the filming. So then you bring in a new director, Josh Whedon, and he chops it up. He says, like, I don't know what this is. I don't know where he was going. I'm just going to make you a movie. And he just makes you a movie that is under 2 hours, that is like a fade, high and tight, just come in, get Superman, go. Mm-hmm. Credits. And it's like, okay, sure, if that's what you want. But when it comes to, like, David Ayer with Suicide Squad, David Ayer, if you know his movies that he's done, they're very dark, gritty, LA crime-based films. Mm-hmm. So when you think of him doing a Suicide Squad movie, you were thinking, oh, this is going to be dark, gritty, mm-hmm. it's going to be lived in, like, it's going to be awesome. Right. And then it turned into, like, the first 30 minutes are a jukebox of being like, play Don't Stop Believing, show Margot Robbie, play My Humps, show Boomerang, play, and it's like, all right, well, that's weird, but sure, whatever. And so I'm sure his version is probably 3 hours, and it's probably dark, gritty. You actually get to see Jared Leto not be a weird thug with purple. What? Ah!
Oh, okay. Let's not.
I'm sorry.
You digress.
Oh my god. But I'm sure it makes more sense.
Okay.
But studio execs are like, I'm not putting out a 3-hour movie because then we don't get to show it more because of the turnaround time. And also, name one Marvel movie that has been 3 hours. So you have to think back to that time, like, no. And then, I don't even think, had Logan come out yet? So it's like, we don't do rated R. That whole Deadpool thing was just a shot in the pit. Like, that was just a one-time thing at that point of that thinking. So it's like, it's not going to be rated R. We're not doing all of these things. So we're just make us a nice PG-13 movie. Right. Make it under 2 hours and get out. Yeah. And so they chopped his movie to hell, and then we got what we got. But that's what you sign up for. When you decide to be a part of the big machine and work with the conglomerate, you understand that there's some creative licenses that you just are going to have to let go of. And, okay. But now that we're so many years removed from the Suicide Squad, I don't want to see it again. I don't care.
No, I don't. Right.
I don't care. And if it comes out, and that's what I'm saying. It'll come out if they ever did it. It'll come out, and yes, it will be better. Mm-hmm. What did that do for anyone?
Right.
Like, it's better.
It wasn't needed. It's not necessary. I get what you're saying.
We're wasting millions upon millions of dollars to make a movie that everyone knows would be better if you let the director do what he wants. Okay. Cool.
I get it.
Great. I appreciate it. Zack Snyder fans. Cool. I'm glad you got it. What is it? What did it do? He's not coming back. They don't want anything to do with him. They're going in completely opposite direction. It's over. Like, okay. Like, all right.
I know. Let's just
simmer down. Sorry. I'm get somebody hate. And I'm not afraid to block any of y'all. So just, you can say whatever you want. I'm not afraid to block you. Godzilla vs. Kong. That was fun.
Surprisingly, that was fun. I enjoyed it.
That was a fun movie.
I did. I enjoyed that. Endearing.
Very sweet.
Yeah, but in a way that was it like obviously there was, and I hate to use this word, but I call them cheesiness. I call it cheesy moments.
Of course.
But you're gonna have them in something like that. But I feel like overall I enjoyed watching this movie. I think I surprised myself at how much I liked it.
Yeah, I thought I was going to...
I thought it was going to lose me.
I thought it was going to be a train wreck. I really did. I thought it was going to be a complete train wreck. And I was like, no, it's not bad.
Because all the other... Like, aside from the first Kong movie, which I actually enjoyed, but the other ones...
Skull Island?
The very first one. I believe it is called Skull Island.
That was with Brie Larson and Samuel Jackson, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Enjoyed it. The ones in between, I was like... take it or leave it.
Well, see, you know what? The thing is, I've never been a fan of Godzilla.
Really?
I just don't. It does nothing for me. It's not scary. Mm-hmm. It's a weird conceit. Like, how has this thing been hiding? How? That's I just can't. If you can't get the premise, then it's just kind of like there's nothing that you can show me. Mm-hmm. The idea of a really big ape. It's like,
that's feasible.
Sure, why not? Mm-hmm. Like, why not?
On an island that nobody knows about.
The idea of like a nuclear enhanced lizard that it's like I'm having to jump through too many hoops to get there. But with this movie, the conceit of there's a big lizard, there's a big ape, and they're genetically diametrically opposed to one another. Mm-hmm. Sure, why not? Like, it's like, okay, sure, like. There is a big lizard. There is a big ape.
I think
they want to fight. It's like, okay, got it.
I think for me, it's less of a big lizard. It's more so a nuclear big lizard. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the seconds, because as deep and as much as as big as our ocean is, and how minimal amount of it that we explore.
I believe I would believe
for
sure.
Yes, but the fact that it's borderline sci-fi-ish, I'm like,
it's
just,
and has it's just like a that weird conceit. Like, that's all. It's just a weird conceit.
It's like, where does the nuclear part of it? Where does the breathing? Like, where does that come into play?
I got you.
You know what I mean? I think it's more so that aspect of
That's
it.
fair. But no, all in all, fun movie.
Yeah.
I hope they make another. Like, I would love to watch.
Yeah.
I would love to see them tag team and go against something. I'm all in.
I'm invested.
I'm all in. So this next one. Do you know the story of Zola?
No.
So this is about a woman who actually unofficially created Twitter threads.
Okay.
So she retells one of the greatest stories ever tweeted. She talks about she is a stripper, and she talks about meeting a woman. That woman and her boyfriend and her pimp take said woman to Florida.
I've seen. I need to watch. I really wanted to watch this.
It is.
All right. But so it's in my queue for me to watch it.
So here's the thing.
Because I've seen the trailers for this, and it looks great.
So let me give my whole spiel.
Yeah.
The story, if you read it on Twitter, you can very easily just type in Zola Twitter thread.
I didn't know this was a real story.
It's based on a true story.
Okay.
Or based on a story that someone actually told.
Gotcha.
So what's true was
it's up to yeah.
But this woman back in 2015 literally goes through, I think it was 148 posts of just this story of when she met this woman took her to Florida, and havoc ensued. And it is the most gripping story you will ever read on a Twitter account. Of just like, what the heck? Like, every 2 seconds. Yeah. They turned that into a movie. Okay. They turned it into a motion picture, and it's called Zola. You need to read the story before watching the movie. Because I feel like...
Good to know.
The movie fails in some spots to really make you feel the tension or the holy crap, I can't believe this is happening.
Which is difficult. It's always difficult to do.
It is hard. So I feel like if you know the story, you kind of inject into it, and you're like, this is that time. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know what she was thinking. Yep. Because you read what she said. So I would just give that little caveat. Make sure you read it before you watch it, because if you just watch it, I think you're gonna be like, this is a weird mix of Spring Breakers and Magic Mike. So remember Spring Breakers with Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez? If you never watched it, consider yourself lucky. That movie was god awful, and it was weird, like dream, like is this a dream or what? Is this some weird like drug hallucination? And then Magic Mike was like, we're strippers, but we're serious, and we go through.
They tried to make it grimy.
Yes, and so if you don't read the story, you're like, this is just a weird gumbo of that, right? And it's like, that's kind of weird. But if you know the story, you're like, I see what they're doing. Gotcha. Like I get it. Yeah. So I would just say Zola, read the Twitter thread, and then watch the movie, and I think you'll be like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. Gotcha. We'll be right back, and we're gonna talk about TV now. So I know Kyla has been watching a lot of series, so I'm going to let her take the driver's seat. I do have my list on here of things that I've been watching, but Kyla, go ahead, drop us off. What have you been watching?
So I'll say, where do I begin? I'll definitely start off with Big Bang Theory. I know this is a show that's been on for quite a long time.
Now let me ask you a clarifying question. Is this something that's been on your queue, or something you just needed to finish?
This is something I've needed to finish. Okay. So gotcha. This is something that I was already a fan of, and I was watching it when we, had cable. But now with cable not being a thing for me, and we're just solely internet, and we've just been solely just streaming platforms for the past maybe four or 5 plus years. I've been waiting for it to come on any networks, for me to watch it and finish it. So, and I didn't want to, just start back up I just was like, let me be able to watch this from beginning to end. That's fair. It'll be a great binge watch. Love the characters. Sheldon Cooper is probably one of my favorite sitcom characters of all time.
Ooh, that's going to be a good
of all time.
Good conversation.
And I will stand on that.
Okay, that's I'm not giving my thoughts.
It's that's from fair. Beginning to end. They wrapped it up they've wrapped it up nicely. It never lost me. Every single show, I'm laughing. It's kind of like my. It was just a feel good. It was my feel good. Like, I just want to watch it and have and just nerd out and laugh. Fair enough. It isn't. I'm not going to say it's for everybody because it's not. But that was one of the series I enjoyed.
Well, excellent. Good to hear. So for my list, again, I have it on very top all the way down. First one, Snowfall.
I've heard a lot about that, and I've been told I need to watch it.
It is by far the best show on television.
So
it is.
No one's been able to break it down for me, which I don't want a full breakdown, but
no, it's about the crack epidemic.
Pitch it to me.
It's the crack epidemic in L.A. and it focuses on Franklin Saint, who is a pseudo version of Freeway Ricky Ross.
Oh, okay.
The guy who actually was used by the government to sell crack or to sell cocaine to help with foreign wars. So basically, the government provided him the cocaine. He sold the cocaine. The government then took that money and gave it to the foreign governments to help with their wars that they were having overseas.
Wow.
So that is a true story of Rick Ross. That's the real Freeway Ricky Ross. Mm-hmm. And this is loosely based off of his life.
Okay.
So I will. It's the best show on television. Let me make sure I get his name correct. Or Damson Idris. Got it right. Damson Idris is a phenomenal actor. Mm-hmm. He, of course, comes from Britain, so all the pedigree in the world. But he moves just like a guy from LA in that late 70s, early 80s mm-hmm. time. And I mean, he just knocks it out of the park. I mean, I'll show you when we get done. I'll show you just one scene. Mm-hmm. It might be 15 seconds. It's the best acting I've ever seen in my life. Okay. I mean, it's one of the most gripping scenes ever of someone he just disappears in this role. Mm-hmm. They're on season 5 now. Mm-hmm.
Also, that's a good binge watch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are they what kind, like hour long episodes or?
It's network, so it's like 42 minutes
that's
or
not
so.
bad.
No, it's a good clean watch. I mean, mm-hmm. you just see his growth in it. You mm-hmm. see where they take it. They have a really poignant moment, I think around like the end of season 3 or so, where, not giving anything away, but he takes a step back and sees what he's done.
Gotcha.
And it just grips you because you're like, oh snap, because the whole time you're like, oh, you're rooting for him,
right?
And then the camera just flips and you're like, oh wait, he's a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. And you're like, dang.
Gotcha.
And you're like, oh no, I remember now. Yep. He's actually the best. Yeah, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
And then it just flips it on you, and it just does it real subtly. But yeah, Snowfall is absolutely fantastic. Such a good show. You got another one?
I do. Mayor of Eastwood.
Mayor of Easttown.
Easttown or East?
I think it's Easttown.
Yes, Easttown. You're right. It's Easttown. Mayor of Easttown.
I started it
with Kate Winslet.
Didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I do plan on going back to it, but why did that one grip?
So, one, it is, I know you love a whodunit. It is a whodunit.
I'm in.
It is a cliffhanger series, so they give you a cliffhanger at just about every, episode.
Okay, but does the story resolve itself?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were about to say like it's an open-ended ending. I was gonna be like,
no,
I can't do that to myself.
No, it resolves.
Okay.
It resolves.
Okay, that is fair.
Really good series.
Okay, I've heard good things about it. Like I said, I started it. I didn't have a problem with it, but it was, you know how it gets. You watch something, then you cut it off, and then you're like, do I really want to get back into it? And then I was just kind of like started watching other stuff. But yes,
I will say this was one of the series that I started watching and I recommended to my dad. And my dad was like, I started watching it, and he felt like you. He was like, I watched it, wasn't sure about it. He went back and rewatched it. He texted me and he was like, I'm glad you told me to watch it again. Okay. So take that for what it's worth.
No, I will check it out. I will definitely check that one out. Okay. Now this one, I recommended to you in all caps, and you never watched it. So, and I'm going to say it, and everyone's going to be like, why didn't you watch this? Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis.
You did?
I put in all caps that you need to watch this show. And you were like, okay. And I was like, I know that you're not going to watch it. So, I tried to think of a way to describe this show. You know that feeling you get, let's say you're outside, it's a sunny day, and has the breeze ever hit you in a way that made you remember how you felt when you felt that breeze when you were like 8?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, man, that's how this show makes you feel.
Okay.
It is so loving and kind-hearted, but it is still hilarious. Mm-hmm. There's still crude humor. It is still all of that stuff, but he is so GD lovable and kind that you're just like, that feels nice.
Gotcha.
Like, as soon as he starts talking, it's one of those things where you just have to go with it. Because it is a true fish out of water tale. He is an American football coach from Missouri who gets brought over to the UK to coach soccer. Okay. That's it. And you just go on that journey with him. it is very straightforward. It is now, of course, throughout the series, you learn more about him and why he even did it and and why he was even select. Like, there's more to the story.
Yeah.
But that's it. An American football coach is now asked to play football. In Europe, and he is just so, he's just so lovable, and I wanted to remind you of that nostalgic feeling, just because when you hear him say those things, it can come off cheesy to if anyone else said it, but because of his character, you just believe it, and you're like, man, he really believes what he's saying, or he's really that nice, or he's really that sweet. It's just I can't speak highly enough. And they're on season 2 now. He does these perfect little one-liners that are just like, you may not laugh because you don't know anything about his character. But for season 2, he looks at his manager and she's giving him or his boss, and she's giving him advice, or she's talking to him about something. And he goes, a lot of times it's called girl talk, but I think sometimes it's just girl listen.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
So see, that's what it's just like. That's just good. Like it's like that's just funny. Like it's like I don't care who you are. It's like that's just funny.
Yeah.
Like and that like from the first time he tells one of those jokes, you're just like, yeah, I'm in. Like gotcha. I'm here. Okay. So that's a good one for me. You have any more?
Yeah. So Virgin River. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So it's I don't even know what to call this series because it's really not it is a drama series, but it's kind of a romantic drama series.
What? Virgin River?
Virgin River. Okay. It's about a woman that moves to and I want to say this is in California, somewhere outside of, I can't remember if it's San Francisco or California or LA, that they're this little podunk rinky-dink town right outside of whatever in California. And this woman moves, she's a nurse, and she moves from the big city to this small town, looking at she was hired as a nurse. And it's basically the town is so small, it's one doctor and she's the only nurse. And she's come for several reasons. She has a very sad past. She meets people, and there's a guy there that she falls for, and they have like all the ins and outs and the twists and turns, and then they bring other cast members that they have their own storylines. It's very cheesy in certain spots, but it's endearing, and it's there's a lot of like relatable scenarios that go on. So it's, it's not like something that's without giving too much away. Essentially, she has experienced a lot of death. Okay. And so there's a lot that goes on with her past. There's a lot that goes on with his past. He suffers from PTSD. It's good. I was kind of surprised that I liked this series because it is borderline cheesy. There's parts of it that are kind of like, okay, it's getting really good and it's getting really intense, but then there are parts that are kind of like, all right, well, this is kind of,
Okay.
But
hey, no.
Overall, it's not bad. It's a pretty easy watch. It's a good hour-long episodes. I want to say there's like 3 seasons. I was gonna say I just did some quick research. There are 30 total episodes. They just did season 3. Okay. They end the seasons with cliffhangers.
Of course,
which are really good. This last season, the cliffhanger was pretty good. I was like, okay, you got me. You get invested. It's really easy to get invested in the characters in this series. I will say one of my favorite series that I've watched since the whole pandemic started, like since 2020, like all through. Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
Schitt's Creek is amazing. Amazing.
Nothing but high praise. They are Emmy darlings.
Dan Levy, Eugene Levy. Oh my God. The character Moira Moira. I hate saying that name, but it fits her character so much that her character is probably one of the most unique characters that I've seen. And
oh no, for sure. No, it didn't do it for me. But I appreciate what they've done. Mm-hmm. I love Eugene Levy, and
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara is an absolute comedic legend.
Amazing.
I'm more of a fan of their work that they did with like The Best Show or Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman. I like more of that. Mm-hmm. But
see,
I have grown. I appreciate Dan Levy. If I see like a little. Like, you know how Facebook will make you watch stuff, and like if there's a scene with him in it, I'll watch it. I will more than likely laugh. Mm-hmm. It was just something about the show that I was just like, I'm just not.
How far did you get in it?
I literally got like 10 minutes in the first episode, and I was just kind of
I'm
not
you have to get past the first episode. I will say that you have to.
All right.
You have to get past the. Once you get past the first episode,
here's the thing.
I promise you, Justin, please just watch it again.
We're gonna change this show to
watch it again. We're gonna change
the show to Here's the Thing.
No, watch it again.
Actually, that's already a thing. Shout out to Kevin on stage and that chick Angel. Here's the thing.
Love it. Love that pod.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Mm-hmm. If you tell me for a new show, I have to get past a certain amount of episodes before I start to like it, I'm out. No. The same thing goes for Get Ready Algorithm, Breaking Bad. I'm out.
No.
If you tell me, well, you just get through the first season and then no, I'm out.
That's different. Episode and
out.
seashave are two different things. If you got to get through a whole season just to get into the nitty gritty of it, I should have known better because people kept saying like Walking Dead. I watched 2 episodes of Walking Dead and I was like, this is horrible. They're like, wait till episode 3. Why do I have to wait? No,
be good.
With Schitt's Creek, it's literally the first episode because you need the first episode to give context. But once they're in the city or in the small town and they're moving and operating in the small town, because the first episode is just like setting it up for. They're like they don't have any money. They've lost everything. They have to move into this small town. But they have to set it up that way. So of course it's not going to be. But once you get into it, it is hysterical. It's hysterically funny. It's literally the first episode.
I'm not denying that it probably is. I'm just saying I'm not going to do it because it's just not. Everything I've listed. I mean, everything I've listed is good. It's good when it starts. Like, it's just, and everything that I list from here on out is good when it starts. Like, and I'm not saying that I've never watched a show that didn't have a slow build. I'm not saying that. But when you recommend something to me, if you're telling me the first hour or the first 2 hours that you spend with these people is not going to be worth it, but once you do,
the episodes are short.
I don't care.
So they're not. Care. I won't say short, but they're not super long.
I'm just not interested.
So it's literally the first episode, but after that, the series gets fantastic.
I believe
it wraps up really beautifully.
I believe
all
you.
The characters are amazing.
I believe you. I 1000% believe you. I'm just never going to watch it because you're already telling me. You're going to waste 30 minutes.
You're a horrible person.
But you're going to get 5 or 10 hours back. I don't care. I'm not interested. Moving on. The Mighty Ducks Game Changers. Shove that up your butt. You didn't watch this.
And I'm not going to.
The Mighty Ducks Game Changers, probably apart from the MCU stuff, is Disney Plus's, to me, the best thing that they've made. This hit all the right feels. It wasn't overly nostalgic to make you be like, you're just making this for us. It actually progressed the story. It does it in a fun way. It brings back Emilio Estevez, Coach Bombay, in a very satisfying way. The kids are not as good as the original because you can't beat the original cast, but these are good. These are a fun group of kids to follow and to root for. I don't care that you're feeling this way. You're just upset that I don't want to watch Schitt's Creek. But
I am. I'm really salty about it.
The Mighty Ducks Game Changers, really fun. It really was a nice little like wake up on Friday and be like, oh yeah, that's right, the Mighty Ducks came out. And as an adult, I don't feel bad saying that. So
it didn't need to be remade.
It's not remade. They progressed the story.
It didn't need it. We didn't need it. Just like we didn't need
Schitt's Creek. Yeah, you're right.
Just
we
like
didn't need the first episode of Schitt's Creek because clearly after the second one,
you don't know what you're talking about because you didn't see it.
They could have started with the second episode and then done a rewind to.
Well, for one, Schitt's Creek wasn't a remake.
Since we didn't need
or
it,
wasn't a reboot.
Nope.
Schitt's Creek was an original.
Mm-hmm. Next, I
digress.
Your Honor, which Bryan Cranston. This one is awesome. It is a true Greek tragedy story. It is about a judge in New Orleans who, due to circumstances beyond his control, has to forsake everything that he believes in for the betterment of someone he cares about. And it ends so horrifically beautifully, if that's a right way you can say that. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Bryan Cranston is a fantastic actor, and yeah, like I said, as soon as the incident happens in the first episode, you're then like, oh, how's he gonna? And you're like, oh, okay, and then it just takes you on that ride, and you're just like, I don't know how this is gonna end, and you're like, the whole time you're like, there's only one way this can end, mm-hmm. and then it doesn't end that way, and then it ends another way, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, that's how that ends. Like that's how that works. Mm-hmm. Absolutely beautiful, gut wrenching, mm-hmm. but absolutely beautiful. I want more films and television to end like how they used to do, like how like foreign films used to end in like the 70s and 80s of like, life sucks, it gets a little bit better, and then it kicks you in the nuts.
I don't know if during a pandemic we need that kind of energy right now. I get where you're going with it.
No, but I just think because a lot of times hopeful endings are fine and good, but a lot of times it's like the circumstances are so outrageous that it's like, this can only end one way. And I don't like when it takes you that way and then it's like, oh no, they got out and they're fine. No, like that's not how it works.
There's not always a happy ending.
So that's what I mean by that. If your circumstances are so outlandish, mm-hmm. but then you're like, but then it turned out they got the wrong guy. It's like,
I get if the series calls for it, if their movie calls for it.
So this is one of those shows that it starts off where you're like, I don't know how he's getting out of this, mm-hmm. and then it ends with, oh, okay, yeah, that's how. Okay, yeah, that's how you got out of that. Like, all right, you're like, yeah, no, that makes sense. That was the only way it could have ended. Yeah, like that. I love that type of stuff because it's just more real, and it just. Very much so a you reap what you sow series. Mm-hmm. And it's just one season. Mm-hmm. I think it's 9 or 10 episodes. Mm-hmm. Just get in, live in it. Every episode, like you were talking, has a cliffhanger where you're like, oh! Mm-hmm. And then you're like, how's he going to get out of this? And then it ends with like, yep, that's what happens. Yeah. That's what he gets. Okay. So, Your Honor, fantastic.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and you're going to say the same thing that you probably said about Schitt's Creek. The Crown.
Let the fans know where I'm going.
It's going to get some more liquor.
Keep going.
So,
I'll never watch it.
So it appeals to the period drama in me that I love. I will say... Now this one is a slow build. This one is one that I had to give a try, a retry myself, because the first few episodes I was kind of like, all right, it was okay. I was like, I don't know how they're gonna make me become invested, but it was like, okay. So I can't remember who I talked to. It might have been a client that told me to talk about, that told me to rewatch this series because they said it gets better So I rewatched it again, and it is a grower. It is 3 seasons, I believe, 3 or 4. This last season where they introduce Princess Diana is amazing. Absolutely enough, because I do appreciate the monarchies, the whole concept of there being a king and a queen and, you know, a dynasty, and I love the whole concepts of...
I stand with Meghan Markle.
Agreed. I think I love... The only reason why I stand for it is because of the history behind it. I enjoy historical, you know, stories and historical, you know, period piece. I love those things. However, because the Crown is all about the modern day monarchy, I have mixed feelings about it, because
It's fair.
obviously, like, you have those emotions about, well, why the fuck is there still a monarchy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, why do we still look to these people for, you know, essentially, I feel like the whole monarchy now is just like one big soap opera. And just for people to fan out over. They portray the monarchy as very, very sad people. It's very, you almost kind of, you can't stand them, but you kind of understand why they are the way that they are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's like you see the progression of all those different circumstances that create, and that's what I enjoy about it. That's what I like about stuff like this, is that you get to see all the characters, all the circumstances, why their actions, even though you may agree or not agree with what they're doing or how they're acting or what their response is to something, but you understand where it comes from. If that makes sense.
No, I mean, I think that's classic anti-hero writing, where we may not agree with the fact that, like how I talked about with Snowfall, we don't agree with Franklin for selling drugs, but we understand.
But
why
you're
he
invested.
Drugs.
Yeah,
well,
you're
we
invested in him.
We understand why he does.
Yeah.
And so I think that you don't watch Star Wars. Jeez, never mind. Every example I have is stuff that you don't care about. But yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, I think that just in a true, that's good writing with an anti-hero to say, I don't agree with everything they say, but I understand where they're coming from, and I'm able to watch it, and you feel something because when they do something that's admirable, it means even more. Right. And then when they do something that even seems Jamie Lannister. Perfect anti-hero. When he does something good, it means that much more.
I will say...
But then when he leaves Brienne of Tarth, you're like, oh, Jamie,
what's
no,
wrong?
why?
Right.
Come on,
Yes.
Jamie. Like, you're better than... Like, you give them their own set of morals.
Right.
When you know why they do what they do.
I will say just about every single character is a Jamie Lannister.
But one that I love, and going back to In the Heights, how I said I am in on musicals. Schmigadoon.
I've never even heard of that.
It is on Apple TV Plus.
See, I don't have it.
Here's the thing. It is with Keegan-Michael Key and Cicely Strong. She is from SNL fame. So it's those two. They're the main characters. And it is a musical. It is literally a 6-episode musical.
Oh, that's where you lost me.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I'm in on musicals. The music was... The thing that made this interesting, the music is actually inconsequential. It's not great music. It's not... But I'm in on... Like, if you tell me, oh, I have this movie, it's a musical, I'm not like, whatever, I'm out. But I'm also like, I'm just like, I'll just watch it. And the music was fine, but it actually is funny because it's about these two people who are in a relationship, and, you know, Cicely Strong's character thinks that everything's perfect in a musical. So that's what she wants. She wants a musical. She wants a relationship that is a fantasy.
Okay.
Whereas Keegan Michael Key is like, no, it's like that's not real. Like, and so it's about them meeting in the middle and actually compromising, which is actually what true love is a compromise. It's coming to understand that it's not going to be a fantasy,
right?
But also understanding that it's not a shit show every time. Like there's some give and take to it. Like I said, high and tight, 6 episodes. Like it's not. You're not going to be sitting there like, oh my God. But if you don't like musicals, of course you're not going to like it. But I think if you're open to it, or if you're in on musicals, it is fun. You also have Fred Armisen in it, Alan Cummings, who, if I showed you a picture, you'd be like, oh, him. And then Kristen Chenoweth. I don't think you may know her from other stuff, but she is a phenomenal singer. She's a great actress. She plays like the stereotypical, like Bible thumping, everything's a sin character. She plays it perfectly. And yeah, they go to this place that is a musical, and just havoc ensues. Very fun, very very clever concept, and yeah, I love it. It was fun. Like I said, it's lower on my list because it's not like, oh, you gotta run to see it. Yeah. Just because I understand how people are with musicals. But when I watched the first episode and I was like, wait a second, is this a? And I was like, oh my God, this is a show that's a musical. Yeah. I was like, I'm in. Like, okay. And it was good. It was a great story.
This one, I am not okay with this.
I'm not okay with this. Is that a movie?
That is a movie. No, it is a series.
Series, okay.
And it is starring Sophia Lillis.
Okay.
She was the redhead in the new It. Movies.
Okay.
The lead. So she's the lead in this series.
Gotcha.
Short episodes. I want to say the episodes are like between 19, 20, 28. They're very, very quick watches.
I love that.
She plays I want to say she's high school. So she's probably like, I will say maybe, sorry, it just turned on. Turn it off. Stop it. Sorry. She plays a teenager. So I don't want to say it's a coming of age. It's only 1 season, which leads me to believe, I don't know if they're going to continue it. I hope they do. I don't know if it stopped because of COVID and all the pandemic, so I don't know if they're gonna revamp it, but I hope they do, because this girl basically is kind of like she's kind of sticks to herself. Want to say her family's kind of downtrodden, kind of lives a kind of like a lone wolf kind of lifestyle. She's very quick-witted, and she meets this boy who is kind of like her neighbor, and he just bugs the shit out of her. He like really desperately wants to be her friend, but she's kind of like, okay, he's exactly the opposite of her. Okay. He's like very in your face, very extroverted, whereas she's like very introverted. She discovers she has, out of nowhere, she's been kind of thinking that there's been something going on with her, and it kind of slowly manifests itself, but she has powers.
Oh, okay.
She has powers. I won't say what they are or what, but she discovers that she has these powers. Oh. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know where they come from. She doesn't know how to control them. It just happens. It mainly happens when she gets angry.
Ah, okay.
But that's essentially the story.
Gotcha.
Very, very fun watch.
Okay.
Very quick watch, but a very fun one.
Okay.
I hope they continue this. I haven't done the research or looked up to see if they're going to come out with it or if it's been canceled, but I hope they continue it.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Sounds good. Well, I mean, I think we're back.
Yeah. It's been good. Feels good.
Insert John Wick.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah, so we're going to continue on. We got some big things planned. We are finally very close to doing our big Disney episode. So definitely excited about that one. And yeah, we're just going to keep rocking and rolling. So as always, thank you for listening. Thanks for the support. And, stay safe. Drink responsibly. See you guys next time.
Peace.
And we back. And we back. And we back. And we back.